Welcome. We'll get started shortly. Before we begin, here's how to earn continuing professional education credit for attending this session. There are no polling questions or attendance checks. Instead, you will demonstrate your knowledge by taking a brief multiple-choice quiz using the Earmark app. Visit earmark.app in your web browser. You can also download the mobile app by scanning the QR code on the screen. Log in, or if you're new, create your free account. Be sure to use a valid email address because that's where we'll send your course completion certificates. From the home screen, scroll down to find the course. You can also tap the magnifying glass icon to search for the course. Tap on the course artwork, then the Enroll button. On the Course tab, you'll find the recording and quiz questions. Complete the quiz to earn your CPE certificate. It takes us a few days to create the course on the app, so if you are attending this session live, please wait a few days. We'll email you a link to the course when it is ready. If you have questions or need help, email us at support@earmarkcpe.com. And now, on to the event.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us live or watching this on demand. I'm Zach from Earmark, and this is Prepare Your Firm Systems for the October 15th tax deadline. And I'm going to introduce your host right now. Tim Sines is the founder of Mango Practice Management. He's a 36-year practicing CPA, the owner of Sines & Associates, and a software developer for over 30 years. So I'm going to hand it over to Tim now. And also, just for your heads up, if you have any questions, please ask them while it's going. We're also going to have a question and answer at the end of the webinar.
Thanks, Zach. I would like to thank everybody for joining today. Hopefully you'll find this useful, this webinar, and maybe take some things away from it that might help you manage your practice a little bit better. The learning objectives today are warning signs your firm isn't ready for the October 15th deadline or due dates that are fast approaching, common process gaps, hidden costs of inefficient systems. What that means is are you losing money? Is it costing you more to operate your practice? Are you losing clients? We'll kind of go through some of those hidden costs. And strategies to prepare your firm now and beyond. And at the end, feel free to put any questions you may have in the chat. You can do them while I'm going through this webinar. You can present your questions in there. And when we get to the end, we'll go ahead and answer all those questions for you. So let's go ahead and get started. The warning signs your firm isn't ready for the approaching deadlines that are upcoming 9/15 and 10/15. What are some of those warning signs? It could be disorganized client data. Do you have folders laying around your office? Is some of your information uploaded to a client portal? So back in the day when there was no document management systems available, we had folders, and I know how disorganized that was, that we always had to go from office to office to try to find a folder. Even if the folder was in my office, sometimes I would spend 5, 10, 15 minutes trying to find a folder. So this is just an area that we're going to kind of go through that helps you get organized more with your client data. Another warning sign would be bottlenecks in review or the approval process. So are your staff preparing the returns, but maybe they're not getting reviewed fast enough, billed fast enough? Maybe you're not getting your invoices out to your client for payment. There could be bottlenecks there, which we're going to kind of go through some to reduce those bottlenecks. Last minute client submissions due to no client follow-up. I think we've all have experienced this. We're going through the normal tax season, trying to get everything done by 3/15 for the entities, 4/15 for the individuals, and we're really not communicating with our clients to get their work in timely, how to submit their work, whether all at one time or piecemeal. I know I hate when clients only bring in part of their work and then they have to bring in additional work. We try to train our clients to give us all the work at one time. Make sure they have all the brokerage statements, whatever it might be, so that we're not, revisiting the folder or the work or the electronic folder online for information. We don't want to start the work until we have it all. Overbooked and overmaxed staff. So what does that mean by overbooked, overmaxed staff? Is your work being planned out, assigned, prioritized? Are you doing it first in, first out? Are you tracking that? Are you reassigning work to your staff if maybe a staff is overbooked or has gotten behind? So that's a warning sign if you're encountering that. And as mentioned earlier, delayed client communication. So as the April 15th deadline is approaching, are you communicating with those clients, say at the beginning of April, that they need to get their work in? Or we have a policy, if the work is not in by April 1st, it's going to be an automatic extension. If we can get it done before the 15th, that's fine. But basically, we tell clients that if your work is not in by April 1, it's going to be automatically extended. So that kind of pushes clients to get their work in because a lot of them don't want to be extended. Some don't care, they want to be extended. So this is just a warning sign. If you're kind of coming up to April 10th and 11th and clients are just now bringing their work in and they expect that work to be completed, that's not good. I mean, it's too much pressure on your staff. Expectations are a little, off the charts there, is trying to deliver the product of the tax return to the client. So these are just some of the warning signs you may or may not be experiencing in your firm. What are some common process gaps? So are you still doing things manually? I talk to a lot of firms, as we do demos for Mango Practice Management. I can't get over, we're in 2025 and there's still firms that are doing manual invoices, maybe in Word or Excel. Believe it or not, they're doing that. But even more, even if they have, a good practice management solution, they're still mailing invoices versus emailing. This is a big thing in my firm. I mean, I can't even remember the last time I mailed out an invoice. So we email out all of our invoices. I know we all have legacy clients that are a little bit older. We do print the invoice for them. When they come in, they'll make a payment when they come in to pick up their tax return. But for the most part, we email out all invoices and then we expect the client to pay electronically. Some do mail in a check, very few. Most of them don't even want to write a check anymore. They want to pay electronically. So eliminating that process gets the invoice to the client faster. And you'll find that if you're utilizing electronic payments in your solution, you're actually going to get paid faster. This kind of goes hand in hand with what I was just talking about, entering cash receipts manually versus electronic payments. Just a little quick stat. I think 80%, 80 to 90, I have to look at it. I haven't looked at it lately. 80 to 90% of our clients pay electronically. The monthly clients that we're doing accounting for, we have set up on recurring payment schedules. That's all built into the solution, that we set up a recurring payment schedule. We collect the money at a certain day of the month. That payment will come back into Mango Practice Management. It's automatically applied to the invoice. So there's that way. Or the manual way is you get a check and you have to enter that check into the system, apply it to the invoice. Now you have a check sitting in a desk drawer somewhere. You have to create your deposit, attach a deposit slip, and take it to the bank. So I'm not going to say we don't do some of those. We still do have those checks that come in. But for the most part, electronic payments is the way to go. What I like about it is the client receives the invoice by email. They click to pay it. There's no logging into a portal or their credit card. They simply click, and they make a payment. It's very, very convenient for the client. They love it. They prefer not to write a check. They really don't want to write a check. A lot of people don't even have checks anymore. They're doing everything electronically. So having an electronic payment solution built in to your practice management solution is really a big thing. What I like also, if I'm out of town, which I am out of tax season, and clients are making payments, it's going to the bank. I don't physically have to take that deposit to the bank. It's going to settle the next day, 24 to 48 hours. That money will be in my bank account. So I prefer the electronic payments, and it's getting to the point now that clients prefer as well. Some other manual processes, scanning in documents versus the client uploading the documents. So, we have both. We have clients that bring the folder or the envelope into the office. We immediately scan in those documents and we give them back their original documents, their folder. We scan everything, front, back, every piece of paper that's in that folder or that envelope, and therefore it's we're not dealing with a folder and envelopes around the office. Everything has been uploaded. If there's a staff person that's assigned to that client, they're going to get an email notification that says, client ABC documents have been uploaded, because the receptionist just uploaded those documents. So that is still, a manual process, but you get an added benefit of scanning those documents in when you receive them, that now you have them electronically and you're not going to be searching for documents. Now, the preferred is we're not going to get 100% of our clients uploading their documents. We have older clients, some clients they prefer to drop off their documents, but we push to get clients to upload the documents, and they're basically doing our work for us. So now, client John Doe, he has all of his documents. He's uploaded them. I get an email notification that John Doe has just uploaded his documents. I'll go into my project management solution. I'll check that the client has uploaded the documents, and then that flips the switch on that project that it's ready to be worked on. So that's a two-step process for us. We get the email notification from the client, documents are there. We start that project, so somebody within the office knows that project is ready to be worked on. So,
hey Tim, we got a question from Jennifer. Sure. Jennifer said, do you surcharge if clients are more manual based, like for payments, documents, anything really? Like, do you change pricing for them, I guess is what she's asking.
We don't really surcharge for scanning in the documents. We have an automatic document feed, and we can put 100 documents up on that feed and just hit a button, and it really goes kind of quickly. We really don't we do surcharge for doing extensions. I don't know, we're kind of going back to if clients don't bring in their documents, by April 1st. Yeah, that if we do an extension, we do surcharge for that. Mailing out invoices, we're baking in all of our expenses basically for postage or, whatever it might be. So we bake a lot. Electronic payments, I can enable surcharging, for example, on electronic payments, and pass that on to the client. I don't really like to do that. And my personal preference is this: I don't really want the client to think I'm nitpicking, $3, $4, $5, $8 for the surcharge. I just build that into my invoice, and I really don't have to let the client see that surcharge when they're going to pay electronically. The other thing too with surcharging, I think you all may know this, is that debit cards are not subject to surcharge. And there's certain out of state or certain states have unique rules for surcharging as well. ACH, if your client's paying by ACH, there's no surcharge, but you are incurring a small fee for an ACH. But like I said, I build all that in, just like all of our other expenses. We're building that in to the invoice. So hopefully that answered that question. Moving on, engagement letters. Again, this is really becoming a hot topic in the industry. A lot of firms utilize engagement letters, some don't. Some are doing them in Word. They're cut and pasting their template into Word, making the modifications to the engagement letter. They may be attaching it to an email and sending it to the client, or they might be putting it in some third-party solution and getting the signature electronically for the engagement letter. That's all fine. But it's a lot of manual work there. In Mango Practice Management, we do have engagement letters built into the platform. You can have templates, your services, build out that engagement letter. But what's really nice is when you create that engagement letter, you can email that out to your client. They can view it electronically, and they can sign it electronically. Now, what's nice is you can also accept a no payment on the engagement letter, a one-time payment request, or even a recurring payment. So let me explain the differences. I just want to get an engagement letter out, get it signed, that spells out our terms. I'm not requesting a payment. I may have a new client that comes in with 2-3 years worth of prior year tax returns, and I don't know this client. I'm going to do the engagement letter. I'm going to email it to the client. I'm going to tell the client I'm going to email you an engagement letter and you're going to have to make a payment. So you can do a one-time payment request. So I want to get paid in advance for doing, those 3 years worth of tax returns. The client will receive that engagement letter. They'll sign it. And then part of the acceptance is they have to enter their payment information. And I can dictate ACH or credit card, or both. So the client will accept it and they'll enter their payment information. And that payment will come back into Mango and sit as a credit on that client's account. I can then go start to do the work, track my time, do the invoice. If I didn't collect enough money, then I can send an additional bill for the balance. But the beauty of it is having that automated, the engagement letters in your solution, and having those electronic payments there is a big plus. It kind of eliminates a lot of the manual that you're doing. The third and final advantage of engagement letters is if you're onboarding an accounting client, for example. It's going to be a monthly client. They're agreeing to pay a fixed fee, maybe $500 if you are, going to be doing a fixed fee for that engagement. If it's $500 a month for the accounting services, you can have the client agree in the engagement letter to recurring payments. Now, what will happen is, again, you're trying to eliminate as much manual work as possible. When the client receives that engagement letter, they're going to accept it. They're going to agree to the recurring payment schedule. The automation here is that Mango will automatically set up a recurring invoice for that fixed fee amount for that engagement. It will automatically create a recurring payment schedule. This basically puts your invoicing and your payments on automation. So every month, Mango will go collect the money from your client. It will create the invoice. It will apply the payment. It will also even optionally release time against that engagement and automatically calculate the write-up and the write-down on that invoice so you can see what your realization rate is for that particular client. So again, engagement letters, I talk to many people. Some don't even do engagement letters. Some are doing them manually. I guess the idea is that you would try to automate your engagement letters as much as possible. There's other advantages we could get into of engagement letters. I mean, one big one is scope creep. We clearly define our scope in those engagement letters, and anything that's outside the scope, we track that time to other, and we bill that time once a month. We just go grab all of our time for any engagement that has time for other, and we email out all those invoices, and basically that's a revenue generator. So you don't want to be giving away time, that's for sure. Managing projects in Excel. A lot of people are managing projects in Excel. They're not using a project management solution. We have a project management solution in Mango that allows you to track due dates, extension due dates, internal due dates. If I received work in on February 10th and I want to get it out in 5 days, the internal due date is February 15th, which precedes the actual due date. So it allows you to manage your projects a lot better within your firm. So that's managing your due dates, but also workflow. Who's doing what on that project within the firm? So you can get some high-level visibility into what projects are at what stage in the firm. And I'll do a screen share here in a moment and kind of show you what that looks like and some of the advantages of it. So these are some common process gaps. Another one, disconnected systems. Are you tracking time in a separate application and invoicing in another? I talk to people that are tracking time in one solution, they're doing their invoicing out of QuickBooks. So what's the disadvantage? You don't have any realization. You don't know, you see your time, you see the invoice. A lot of people are especially smaller firms, don't really care about tracking too much of the realization, utilization, and things like that. But it's in one solution if possible. As I mentioned before, different project management solution, whether it be an Excel or a third-party solution that only does project management. Again, it's nice to have it all in one solution. And why? Because when you're working on a project, a task, you can actually start a timer. So you get a lot of benefits and efficiencies by having an all-in-one solution. Third-party electronic payments or engagement letters, we kind of talked on that. But the third-party electronic payments, so you might have a solution that you're invoicing out of, but you're processing through a third party. So then you have to manually come back in and put the payments against the invoice in that solution. So again, that's an example of a disconnected system. Spreadsheets, Word docs, we kind of touched on it. Word docs, people are using that for engagement letters. Spreadsheets for, some people are invoicing with spreadsheets. It's amazing. But anyway, so let's go through common process gaps. There's no standardized client onboarding, lack of visibility into project status or due dates. We kind of touched on that. Poor communication, tracking, and follow-up. We kind of touched on that. Let me just elaborate on a little bit on each of these. No standardized client onboarding. So is small firms is probably not a problem. Larger firms, you want this more standardized, or if you have 3 or 4 staff, I mean, I consider that where you want to have some standardized process of client onboarding. And what do I mean by that? You can set up a project that when you have a new client come in the door, you can turn that project on for that client, and you might have all these steps that you need to do to properly onboard that client. Maybe send a welcome letter, set him up in your tax software, make sure you get 2 years worth of tax returns or any prior documents that you may need from that client, set them up in your billing system. So whatever your process is, you want to have some form of standardized client onboarding. Now, what's nice is if you have that standardized, the moment the work comes in the door, people working, the client set up in your billing system, you start tracking time, any prior documents that you needed, the last bank rec, whatever it might be, maybe it's already been uploaded into your document management system. So this all just gets efficiencies within the firm if you have some standardized process for client onboarding. Lack of visibility into project status or due dates. We've kind of touched on it already, but I don't know if an Excel spreadsheet is going to give you the high level overview of, what projects are available for work. You could probably sort it by status and other things, but we have dashboards that give you all that information. And with this internal due date, which is huge, in my opinion, if I got that tax return in February and I want to get it out in 5 days, on the week of February, I'm going to start seeing all those projects that are due this week. And why am I not getting it out the door in 5 days? Am I missing information? Am I waiting on the client for something? Did we prioritize some other tax returns? So having visibility into that, again, helps eliminate some of these process gaps, pick up efficiencies, and basically reduces stress. It helps you work better. Poor communication, tracking, and follow-up. This goes back to, is there any follow-up with clients in March that haven't brought their accounting work? Are there, or you could do this for accounting as well. We all know clients get behind bringing in their monthly accounting, but as far as taxes go, you just don't want all your clients bringing everything in and the end of March. We all know that the ones that want refunds, bringing in early in tax season, the ones that owe, bringing in a little later. But I guess what I'm kind of getting to here is you want to have some sort of system, whether it's an automation where you can follow up with your clients to not let them get 2 or 3 months behind with their accounting work, not let them get too close to the deadlines with bringing in tax work. And when you implement this, it really lets the clients know that you're proactive, that you're really tracking things good. It lets the clients know that you're very organized. It's also pushing your clients to pretty much adhere to your policies. and you're not really adhering to the client's policies of bringing their work in late. So again, so something that you can implement within your firm. It just helps with client, I want to say, relationships and also within the firm. Hidden costs of an inefficient systems. What are some of those hidden costs? Well, if you miss deadlines, that's going to be costly because it's going to be hard to make your client pay for a penalty that as a result of you missing a deadline. So that's a hidden cost. So you want to try to avoid missing deadlines. A good project management system will help you avoid missing deadlines. Errors or rework due to lack of information on project workflows. Now, what does that mean? I'll give you a good example. We have a workflow for accounting, a compilation, and maybe there's special notes on that project that pertain to that particular client. And, you know, there's special things that have to be done, whether it be with their merchant account, that maybe it's a liquor store client or construction client, percentage of completion. There's special instructions that you have to follow. Now, what happens when that staff person leaves? They're used to working on that project. They've been doing it for years, and it's all in their head. So it's always nice to have all the information around projects on the project that live with that project, so that whoever's working on that project can review that information, and that will avoid errors or having to rework something. So for example, if you don't have it and a staff is doing, you know, financial statement and they overlook something, the reviewer finds something, and then they have to go back and make changes. So they're basically reworking things. Same with tax returns. I mean, you can have special instructions, which I'll show you here in a moment if we have time, where you can have these instructions on your project. And when I'm going to do the tax return, I can see there's notes out there, and I can review those notes that I need this for the Schedule E rental properties, or every year I'm missing a K1 from a hedge fund because they're extending it. I need to make sure I have that K1. So whatever information you put out there, the more, the better, because if that gets handed to a different person, the more information they have is going to eliminate errors. Lost documents results in wasted time. That's so true. Folders laying around the office results in wasted time. So as much as you can have electronic, the better, because your chances are you're not going to be losing documents. Burnout of staff results in turnover. This is definitely a hidden cost, because if your firm is not organized, it's not efficient in a lot of ways with the practice management aspect, and your staff gets burned out, or they're overburdened or overworked, and they leave, that's a cost. You got to hire a new staff person. You got to retrain that person, which is very time consuming, as we all know that. It's just tough to lose somebody that's been with the firm for many years and bring in somebody new. And that's definitely a hidden cost. So you kind of want to avoid burning out your staff. Missed revenue opportunities kind of goes to engagement letters. Are you maximizing all your revenue opportunities? Are you invoicing for time outside the scope of engagements? Are you overburdened or overworked where you could be doing more work for the client, whether it be tax planning or other revenue opportunities? So you kind of want to look at that, because basically that's the cost of not being able to maximize your revenue. Client dissatisfaction, losing clients. Again, if you're not efficient, if you don't have good client communication, good expectations set with your clients, if they see that you're an unorganized firm, that you're getting behind, you're going to have client dissatisfaction. You might be losing clients, and that's going to be a cost to your firm. Strategies to prepare your firm for now and beyond. So let's kind of talk about a few of those things. Reverse engineering the October 15th workload. So Is there anything you can do between now and then? Possibly. Do you have a good handle of what returns have been extended, what work is in the office to work on now versus what's not? So again, you want a system in place that's going to help you identify this on a high level, so you don't have to do a whole lot of work to know where you're at, so that you can plan for the 9/15 deadline and plan for the 10/15 deadline. Setting milestones for review, submission, and client follow-up. And again, this goes back to training your clients, getting them to submit their work on time. And if they're not, follow up. But more importantly, to get your clients on a schedule so that they know that they have to have their work in by payroll, they're more likely going to submit their work on time because they have to do the payroll. If they're on direct deposit, some clients wait till the day before the direct deposit. They incur additional charges for that. So a lot of this comes down to client training, is training your clients to work within the way you want them to work. And if they don't, follow up with them and get them to get that work into you on time. Monthly accounting is a big one. Clients notoriously bring it in when they want to, a month or two behind, 3 months behind. It's just good to get them on a schedule. And the ones that are bringing it in late, I tell the client this. I said, you're on a recurring payment schedule. You're paying every month, whether you bring your work into us or not. So we're going to get paid whether the client brings the work into us or not. And that's the beauty of getting your clients on a recurring payment schedule. However, you want to reduce those bottlenecks, which we talked about. You don't want clients waiting until October, November, bringing in a full year's worth of work. That's a bottleneck. You want to reduce those bottlenecks. Proactively request client documents. We're talking about that. You want to be proactive. Get those documents in when you need to get them in by, and train your clients to get them in. Track project due dates, conduct regular check-ins. We've kind of touched on that already as well.
So I think we have a question, but it looks like you're going to address it anyway. Rohan says, how do you recommend balancing the pressure of the October 15th deadline with avoiding team burnout? I think that's on the slide. You're going to talk about burnout.
Yep. Perfect. Thanks.
Perfect timing. Yep.
Perfect timing. Capacity planning. So in Mango, not only, do we track time, we do invoicing, we cash collections, electronic engagement letters, and project management. We also have a tool where you can add budgets. And with the budgeting, you get capacity planning. So basically what you're doing is you're creating a budget at the client engagement level, but then you can also go a step down and create a budget at the project level and at the task level. So if you have that information, you now can see a dashboard, and I can see the capacity of Zach for a given day or the week. So now, I can assign work, out based on capacity, or, as the slide says, based on skill and availability. So if Zach is a seasoned tax preparer, and I know that this new client coming in, or existing client, if we're doing round robin assigning tax returns, I can quickly see Zach's capacity, and I can just assign that, drag and drop that task to Zach. And now Zach's going to see that on his dashboard that he's been assigned that task. So capacity planning is used by a lot of firms that have many staff because they need to manage the staff more effectively. A lot of your sole practitioners, 1, 2, 3 firms, they may not utilize capacity planning because there's a tight-knit communication between 3 people within the firm. But if you are a larger firm, I think utilizing capacity planning gives you a lot of benefits. Again, with the budgets, you can see if you're over or under the budget. Now that's time against the budget, which is different than time against the invoice. So I could see that I went over time for the budgeted time. And if I went over time, I'm probably more than likely when I do the invoice, I'm going to be writing off some of that time. So I'm going to have a write-off. But what's nice is the big benefit with budgeting is the capacity planning. So utilizing budgets, you can visually see the capacity of staff, and with that, you can balance the workloads to prevent burnout. So another advantage of capacity planning, maybe Zach got COVID and is out, and I need to take all those tasks that have been assigned to Zach and I need to reassign them to Tim. So I can quickly, easily drag and drop those tasks and reassign that work. And if Zach is overburdened, if he's on a project that's taking more time than usual, then you can easily balance out Zach's workload. Reducing fire drills through better management and forecasting. Again, this is nice. We all have those clients that call, hey, I'm going out of the country. I need my tax return right away. I need my reviewed statement or my financial statements for the bank. I'm doing a refi. I'm trying to get a line of credit, whatever it might be. So what this capacity planning does is allows you to manage your due dates and the capacity of staff, and kind of reducing doing things at the last minute, because now you have a high level overview of what's going on within the firm. So not only, just to point out, you're going to see the workload of each staff, but you also see it for the whole firm. So you can see the capacity of a given day for the whole firm, the week. You can see what tasks are unassigned, and you can assign them to staff. So a lot of firms do tax returns round robin. So when they come in, they can see all the tax returns that are ready to be worked on that have not been assigned. And somebody that's managing the project management solution, they can easily assign out unassigned tax returns to staff, and then they get notified. So a lot of advantages there. Hopefully that answered that question. Tools that make October 15th easier. All right, technology tools that drive efficiency. Again, we've been talking about, process gaps, inefficiencies. What are some of the things that we can do to become more efficient, reduce stress, better client communication, managing projects and everything? Let's kind of go down through some of these here. Workflow, project management platforms. If you're not utilizing a project, and if you have staff, I talk to sole practitioners that use a practice management solution to manage themselves. I mean, it's very, very useful. If you're doing 300-400 tax returns by yourself, it's nice to see what clients you're missing information on. What work is in the door? When did I get it in? When do I want to get it out the door? Am I missing information? So these are all tools that help you become more efficient, even with yourself, not to mention, your staff within your firm. Document request and e-signature tools, we have that all built into Mango. I often request documents with an email plugin. So when I send that email out to the client, they just click the link in the email, they're redirected, they can drag and drop their documents onto the screen. Those documents are automatically uploaded to the folder that I designated when I drafted that email. The client never has to log into the portal. They love that. If I'm missing information, which we try to train clients not, to miss information, not give us information, but in the event we're missing information, you have to request documents. Very nice to do it through email. Client gets it, they just drag and drop, and then I get an email notification that the client uploaded that document. E-sig, having it built in, again, is nice. So the 8879s, when they get signed, you can pre-designate the folder you want those e-sig documents to be in. So now I can go right to my folder structure that I pre-designated in my DMS, signed e-file documents. They're all right there. They go in there automatically. So we have that all automated. Versus a DocuSign or another solution, you just have a list of all your signed documents or your unsigned documents, and you kind of have to do a search. But if you're going back multiple years, it's nice to have everything in one place. Client portals for secure data exchange. Again, so are you going to make it easy for your clients to upload documents securely? Can you request documents by email and get those documents securely? And instead of the client calling you, I need my last 2 years tax returns for a refinance I'm doing, they can log into the portal. They can share the link to those tax returns to the banker or the broker. And now, they don't have to bug you with providing tax returns or any documents. So having a very, very nice client portal, easy for the clients to use, easy for the clients to upload and share documents, very nice. Time tracking and invoicing solution. So we have different ways to track time in Mango. We focus on the day, building out your timesheet for the day. We also have a week view. So a lot of firms that have staff doing audits, they're at the same client every day. They can just bring up the week view, drop in 8 hours for Monday, 8 hours for Tuesday, 8 hours for Wednesday. Very easy to get time in that way. We also have timers, so you could track time live. So a lot of different ways to get time in to the platform. Another is in project management. So you can actually start a timer from a task, and it'll populate the timer for you with all the information because it knows the client and the task that you're working on. Invoicing solution. So we have many ways to invoice. We can do a manual invoice. We do batch invoicing. Example, maybe I don't have everybody on recurring payment schedules. Some firms don't, and they want to go do all their invoices for the month. I can go out and grab all my WIP, bring it into this batch billing solution, we call it, and I can narrow it down to just my accounting engagements. And now I'm going to have all my clients that have time for accounting. And if they're fixed fee, it's going to bring the fixed fee in. I can see my write up and write down visually. I can change my invoice amount right there on that dashboard, and I can generate 10, 100, or 1,000 invoices with the click of a button. So what I'm getting to is you want a solution that is going to allow you to invoice in different ways. I just want to get a tax return invoice out quickly. I can do it, email it to the client. I can get paid quickly. That's a manual invoice. We have batch invoicing, again, where you can create a lot of invoices in batch. We also have retainer invoicing. I want to request a payment up front. I want to email that to the client. They're going to pay it. The credit's going to go in the client's account. And I think, we have recurring invoicing as well. So you can set up all your recurring invoicing, and optionally you can set up recurring payment schedule. So we basically have 4 ways to do invoicing with your firm. A lot of firms use all 4 of them. So just different ways to get your invoices to your clients. Electronic payment solution, highly recommend having an integrated solution. At Mango, we own our payments processor. So we do have a very integrated payment solution into the platform with engagement letters, with statements. We automatically send out statements to your clients automatically. You don't have to do it. And your clients receive those statements. They can partially pay or full pay those statements. So integration between tax software and your firm management tools. Now, why would you want that? Well, some firms do their invoicing out of their tax software. They're invoicing by the form, or maybe they like the way the invoice looks in their tax software, whatever it might be. But we integrate with 5 different tax vendors, the top 5. So we can bring those invoices, and if you reflect the payment, and there are some tax vendors allow that, you can actually import those invoices into Mango. So you don't have to duplicate, work. A lot of firms we've talked to, they're doing their invoicing out of their tax software. Then they have to manually put the invoices into QuickBooks or whatever they're using. We bring all that in with an automation. Okay. Before we start the Q&A, we have a few minutes here before we do the Q&A. Let me just go ahead and kind of just show you real quick what a project management dashboard looks like.
Also, as you're doing that, we just got a question from Brian. He just wanted to know the specific tax softwares that Mango integrates with.
All right. Well, while I'm sharing my screen, let's go ahead and take a look at that. So these are Pro Series, Lacert, Drake, UltraTax, and ATX. Great. So if I selected Pro Series and I want to go up here and see the options that you can, so even if you add or onboard your clients, part of that onboarding process is you set them up in your tax software. You can bring those clients over from your tax software into Mango. You can add new clients only. You can add and update clients. So for example, if the address changed, and we're going to compare the address in your tax software to Mango, and we'll update the address in Mango. Right down here, you can see where you can add invoices with payment, add invoices with no payment. So a lot of flexibility with our tax import. Hopefully that answered that question. And I'm sure most tax preparers or professionals, I think, are using one of those solutions. But right here, so this is a project view. It's defaulting to me. I'm the logged in user. But you can basically see, I can see the whole firm or any person within the firm. The beauty here is I can see what's available for work for me, Tim Sines, what's been extended, urgent, who am I missing information on? As I mentioned, that internal due date, February, you got it in February 10th. You want to get out by February 15th. Week of February, that project will start showing up here, and you can click that. These are all clickable. If I'm missing information, I can click that link, and it's going to go grab those 2 tax returns. And here are the color-coded tags here. When you hold over, you can see what they're for. But what's nice is I can see where we're at. We're at step 4 to review the tax return. And if I want to go right, and here's the end date, 2/3. There's the out date. There's the actual due date. So you get all this visibility at, if I go back to the dashboard, the high level of due this week, due next week. But then you can dive in and you basically can build out this view however you want. You can go get it by specific tags, statuses, managers, etc., date ranges. And, you can search on right here, use these filters. So very, very useful. If you dive into a project, you can see everything. And here's these notes that I was talking about. Here's where you can add these special instructions that will live with this project. So anybody coming in to do the tax return or the accounting or the whatever it might be, you can have these special instructions here. Now, if you have special notes that you needed to complete this particular tax return for this year, you can add notes here. You're missing the 1098-T, and you can fire off an email to your client or to your staff. Maybe if you're reviewing the tax return and you want to put your review notes in here, and email the staff within your firm, and then they'll come out here, and now you have all your notes front and center that's going on. And these tags are easily removable, and you can easily add tags. These are all customizable. So I just wanted to show you what this looks like, so you can kind of just visualize. I was talking about it, but your staff will live over here on the tasks, and they can go filter. I can reset and fetch, and then I can go say, all right, go find everything that's at the text preparation. If I could type here, preparation. And there's everything. And I could narrow this down to just me. And I can complete these tasks from here. Boom, 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 complete them. And then the next person will get emailed, or it'll show up on their dashboard that they're ready to do the review. So again, nice tools like this. Let me pop over to the engagement.
We got another question. Sorry to interrupt, Tim. We got a question from Jessica. Does Mango have its own document storage system set up, or is it integrated with other platforms like Keeper?
We have our own storage where we host those documents. So they're all hosted by us. There's no limits on capacity, storage, and we don't charge extra. You could have 5 terabytes of information. But yeah, we host that.
And then she also asked, same with accounting bookkeeping. Is it a full system in the accounting tab, or does it integrate with other programs?
We do integrate with QBD, QuickBooks Desktop, and QBO, QuickBooks Online. We do have on our roadmap, we're looking at Xero and a few other of the, because as we all know, a lot of people are getting off of QuickBooks just from their pricing. I'm just throwing that in there. But we are looking at integrating with other solutions for accounting. Anything else there, Zach, while we're doing questions?
That's all I see right here at the moment.
Okay. So this is, engagement letters. This is nice because ones that are in draft, ready to email, you can see what's been sent to your clients. You'll know if the client has opened it. You'll know if the client has signed it or rejected it. And you'll be able to see any engagements that are set to auto renew. And you'll also see any engagements that are approaching within 30 days of ending, so that you can review those engagements and maybe get out a new engagement. So this is our engagement letter piece here. I talked about, time tracking. We have timesheet, time card, and then we have where you can start a timer quickly and easily here. Add timers. So project man DMS, this just takes you to the DMS. And if you happen to be in the client, so let me just call up a client that so this is our client 360 view where you can see, all the invoice history. I can see payment history. You can preview invoices here, email them again to your client, payment history, anything that came in electronically or whatever it might be, how it's applied to invoices, very easy. All your open WIP is right here at the client level. You can get this on reports, but I can drill in and easily see my time, who did what. I could easily reassign time to a different client or different engagement if your staff has tracked time. A lot of information here at the client level, note history. You can cut and paste tax information in here. This is all HTML. If you have an article from the web, you can cut and paste it in there. Email logs, so anything that goes out of Mango, whether it be an invoice or be a statement, you have that information in here. And I'm just going back to grab some information, and I don't happen to have anything right here. Let's see, not for this client, but the idea here is that any emails that go out will show up in here. You'll see if the client has opened it or if they clicked on it. Any projects that are open come in here. This one happens to be in progress, and I can actually go back and get completed. Again, powerful, all in the client area here. Schedule, we do integrate with Outlook and Google. So any staff that had appointments with any client, you'll see all those appointments for that particular client right here, past, present, future. This is the budgets we talked about, and then to-dos. Nice little, there's a lot of bells and whistles, but this is a really nice feature for people that are taking phone calls. I could create a to-do for another staff person. It will show up on there. These are all drag and droppable. When I finish that, I just move it to completed. So this gets rid of the sticky notes within the firm. And again, everything's centralized, which is very, very nice. And you can view any staff's, all their to-dos that they may have, which is nice. Well, we're kind of getting near the end.
We got a question from Jennifer. She says, how long does an average setup on Mango take if we're moving over from another solution?
Good question. So we have very good implementation team. When you come on board, we schedule you for that implementation. We've worked with all the different platforms out there. So once you're scheduled, our implementation team will work with you getting your data out. We bring in your client, all your clients. We bring in your open invoices, your open WIP. We also bring in some invoice history, 2, 3, 4 years, so that when you're invoicing, you have a reference of what you've invoiced that client last year. So that normally, to answer your question, is a one-day cutover. So you're scheduled, you'll meet with our implementation team, they'll work with you getting the data. The next day, you're up and running. You'll meet with the implementation team, they'll make sure your open AR matches the AR in Mango, your open WIP matches open WIP in Mango, and basically you start training. You're assigned a customer success representative, name and phone number, email on the platform, as many as you need. We do not train. We don't charge for implementation, and we don't charge for training.
Great. And I see 2 more here that kind of go together. What can my firm implement in the next 30 days to feel more prepared for October 15th? And then someone else wants to know if they should wait until before or after the extension season to try to switch to new software.
Well, that would be personal preference. I mean, we can, as mentioned, we can cut over a firm in one day. We've cut people over in the middle of tax season. Their existing solution was unbearable. They said they couldn't invoice. The reporting was slow. System was locking up. So we've actually brought people over in the middle of tax season, believe it or not. We had somebody that we had a scheduled implementation on Friday. They didn't want to buy the program until they saw that everything was brought over. We actually worked on the weekend, and Monday we met with the client and reviewed all the data. They were happy. They paid us, and they were off to the races with Mango on Monday. So it would just be a matter of personal preference. If you feel like you're just not happy with your solution and you want to get something up and running, it's doable. I mean, we bring people over in a day. It's very, very streamlined.
Great. I think that's all the questions I see right now. Does anyone have any final questions? I think that's it. Tim, do you have anything you want to wrap up with?
Oh, I think we're good. I just, here we are. If you want to schedule a demo, you can take a picture of the code there. Have a look at one-on-one demo, what the product can do for you. We have small, medium, and large firms using the product. Everybody uses it a little bit different. It is very flexible. It's designed by accountants for accountants. It's a very modern and up-to-date solution. So if you want to have a look at it just to see what it can do, I recommend getting a demo scheduled and having a look at it. But other than that, I just want to thank everybody for taking the time out of their busy schedule and joining today. And hopefully some of this information was helpful.
Yep. Thanks, Tim. And here's a quick reminder on how people can earn CPE for attending today's webinar.
Today's event has ended. To earn CPE, go to earmark.app or scan the QR code on the screen. Then log in or create your free account. Search for the course by tapping on the magnifying glass icon on the home screen and then entering the name of this event. It takes a few days to make the course, so if you're attending this event live, keep an eye out for an email letting you know when the course is available. Pass the quiz to earn your CPE, then tap the button to email yourself a certificate. Stay tuned for more events from Earmark. Thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you again soon.